Hi, I'm Debbie, and welcome to Deb's Dakota Studios. I was invited to join a postcard swap, and the theme is purple. So what I've done so far is I've cut down some packaging material I had. Sometimes I use old cereal boxes, whatever, and I cut them down to 4 by 6 inches, postcard size. And then I take those postcards, and right now, as you can see, I'm covering it with a coat of gesso just to kind of mute that background of package writing. Once that gesso is dry, then I've decided to tear up some music paper I had, and I've used some decoupage medium to just adhere it to the front of each card. Just little bits and pieces just to give it some added texture and interest. And I used just an old gift card to kind of smooth it down, make sure it adheres. And then once I'm done doing that, I let everything dry, and then I trim the edges off of those papers, get it all nice and neat and ready for paint. As you can see, it's kind of a messy job, but I like getting my fingers a little messy there, so it's a lot of fun. So now that the matte medium or the decoupage medium is dried, I've brought out some of my paints. I will list the colors down below in the description for you. Usually, most of the time anyway, I use Americana paint because it seems to cover pretty good, but I think I had one Craft Smart paint in there too. And then again, I'm using my fingers, just adding different colors of purple to go with the theme. That was the only direction given, so I thought, well, that's where I'll start. Let me just add some different colors of purple paint, and of course I never put enough down on my palette, so add a little bit more and just keep playing and until I like how it looks. So I decide, okay, that's enough, all of it's covered. I didn't really want to leave any of the white, so I wanted it all purple. And once I got it all on there and kind of mushed it around and mixed it up a bit, I even used that same gift card to kind of spread it out and make sure that everything was even, because these are going through the mail. So we don't want anything dimensional on it. So you have to add interest without adding any dimension or too much weight. So as you can see, I have it all pretty covered, and there I go with the gift card. Just kind of, it helps move the paint just a little bit and gives it a little bit more texture, adds a little bit more interest. And the craft paint too dries really quick, so that makes it nice. So, I let it sit for a few minutes and let it dry. And then what I thought was, well, when this postcard swap was thought of, I think it was right when Prince died. And so that's why the color purple was picked for the theme. And I thought, well, okay, I didn't really want to do a tribute to him, and that wasn't even the theme, it was just purple. But I thought, okay, let me add a feather, and that kind of, to me, went with the theme a bit. So at first I pulled a couple out of my stash just to see what they look like, and I thought, okay, I'll draw a feather on each one and then paint it in with gesso. And on the first one I drew in and I couldn't even see my pencil marks. So after that, these other 3 cards after the first one, they're just freehand. I'm taking some gesso, just kind of putting in a shape of different feathers. I just wanted the gesso on first to kind of just make the next layers a little bit easier to see. And as you can see there, I found even a thin, little bit different shaped feather and using that one too. So just kind of putting in just basic shapes, really easy, nothing too difficult, and then letting the gesso dry. So here I go. I pulled out my paint palettes, and I had, I think, just a really basic white paint. Unfortunately, the coverage wasn't that great on it, but I used it anyway. And then I pulled out again, I think the gray paints that I pulled out, they're all Americana. One is their mixed media line, so a little bit, the Paynes gray, which is the darker one, is more of their mixed media line, but the 2 lighter shades are just the regular Americana paint. So what I've done at this point is I'm just taking each feather and putting a layer of white paint as a base on there, because all the, I just wanted a little bit of light on each feather. Started out that way. And once I got the base coat of white in there, then I was going to start taking the other colors. And I think I started, if I remember right, with the lightest color and just did light little painting motions just to kind of mimic the shape of a feather. I kind of started in the middle of the feather and then I just brushed outwards. Actually, right now it looks like I'm just adding a second coat of the white paint. So I'm getting a little ahead of myself, but it just wasn't quite opaque enough for me. So here I go starting with the lightest gray, and I just started from the middle and I just kind of brushed out towards the edges to kind of make it look feathery. And I went up each feather with the lightest paint. Yeah, so you can see it's real simple. It just, doesn't take a lot of, art skills or drawing skills. Just, as you can see, it's, really quick and easy. Even though I do have this sped up ×3, it still didn't take me that long to do this. Once I got each feather filled in with the light color, let's see, this looks like it's the final feather for the light one, then I went to the next medium color. And when I grabbed the medium color, I also, went back and forth, kind of mixed a little of the darker in, tried to really now just add some more dimension, make it look a little bit more realistic, because the feathers aren't the same color throughout, and the ones that I had, just for a point of reference, they were lighter on the bottom and they kind of went darker towards the tips, so I decided to paint them that way. And once again, I just started from the middle so I could kind of leave like a vein running up of it, the quill part, I guess, of the feather. As you can see, as I'm going up the feather, I'm grabbing darker and darker paint. And I'm blending on the painting too. So, if it looked a little dark, I grabbed some white paint and hit it again, and just kind of went back and forth over it a little bit, just to build up the color and just to make it, a little more transitional. You can really see that there, but I think what I did on this one too, you'll see, is I've gone over it a little bit more and blended it just a bit more than that. But yeah, there I go, see, blending it out with just a little bit of a lighter, not much though. And the same thing on the final feather here. Add a little bit more of the Paynes gray at the top. And now that those dried, I've gone back in and just kind of now made that quill stand out a little bit more with a little bit of white paint down the center. Just an easy line. On that one you can see I got a little thick there, and I just used my finger to kind of push it back a little. Like I said, just very simple. I'm just using a simple angled brush. And then I thought, well, I wanted just a little bit more interest. I had some of the white paint left, so I took a fan brush, added a little bit of water to the paint, as you could see, and just did a few little spatters. And I thought, okay, that broke up the purple just a little bit more and just gave it enough. And then I was very happy with it. Anyway, there's the final project. I hope you liked it. Thank you so much for joining me. Bye-bye.